Hello students. Today we are going to deal with an important topic in communication, that is farm journalism. Let us see how farm journalism is still relevant in this era of boom in information and communication technologies. The advent of Green Revolution brought to the fore the importance of agricultural communication. Its approach and attitude were altered in accordance with the priorities of modern agriculture. The earlier attempts in agriculture journalism drew their strengths mainly from discipline of agriculture extension and not from journalism or mass communication. The main idea was to transfer knowledge and skill, or to be precise, the package of practices about various crops written by scientists or subject matter specialists to the farmers. Since there was no integration of extension and journalism, the agriculture journalism stagnated for many years. So at the end of this chapter, you will be able to get an idea about journalism and specifically about farm journalism, follow certain guidelines in writing farm articles effectively. Now let us see what is journalism. Journalism is a profession of writing for or editing newspapers, magazines and other publications. It is a work of gathering, writing, editing and publishing or disseminating information or news through newspapers, magazines, radio and television or by any media of communication. Sometimes it is also used as synonymous to newspaper writing, newspaper publishing, reporting, news coverage, broadcasting, newscasting, etc. Let us see some of the basic functions of journalism. First, the news function. The primary function of press today is to inform. Factual information of the day's news is the elementary function of journalism. Second, the opinion function. Modern man frequently finds himself in the midst of conflict and confusion. He wants and needs a medium of communication that helps him to act on the basis of logical arguments, not emotional appeals. The modern press is expected to play the role of both as a daily teacher and as a popular leader to protect people's interest. Press influences public behavior. It educates, counsels or advises. It helps them to build public opinion. What do you mean by agriculture journalism? Agriculture journalism is a task of gathering, writing, editing and publishing or disseminating agriculture information, scientific facts, agriculture technology, events or agriculture news through newspapers, magazines, radio and television or by any media of communication. Now let us flip back to the history of agriculture journalism. The first effort of agriculture journalism was in 1763. In 1940, United States government published the journal named Census of Agriculture. The middle of 19th century saw the beginning of hundreds of farm journals in USA, UK, France and other European countries covering a wide range of subjects like dairying, poultry, livestock and other agriculture sciences. The first Farmer Journal of America was started in 1842 as American Agriculturist and Rural New Yorker. In 1805, Imperial Department of Agriculture published the first Indian publication on agriculture. The first Hindi journal, Krishi Sudhar, was published from Agra in 1914. In 1928, local weekly farm journal Zameen Rayot was started from Andhra Pradesh, which was the first farm journal in India. The Imperial Council of Agricultural Research initiated farm journalism in India through the publication of Agriculture and Livestock in India in 1931. It was the first farm journal on both research and extension. By the end of 1993, Indian Journal of Agriculture Sciences was brought out. During mid-60s, some farm writers and reporters founded the Indian Farm Journalist Association. In New Delhi, Indian Farm Journalists Association for the first time organized exhibitions of farm journals in 1970 and documented World Dictionary of Farm Journals. What is the role of agriculture journalism in agriculture development? Nowadays in modern agriculture, the need of exchanging agriculture ideas from one person to another is realized. In this process of communication, agriculture journalism plays a pivotal role to create awareness and overcome ignorance. Effective communication through agriculture journalism in India is emphasized to narrow down the gap existing between the level of research finding available at agriculture research stations and the actual adoption and use by the farm people. The need of the time is to continue the flow of superior scientific technology from agricultural research stations to the farming community through different media within the shortest possible period. This is possible through agriculture journalism. The effective communication between the research scientist and the farmer's needs for immediate feedback to bridge up gap, the journalist's role is understood as a linking system. The effective communication through agriculture journalism of new knowledge from its source of origin to its users provide useful involvement and active participation of technology generators and technology users. The role of agriculture journalist comprises of functions facilitating the effective communication of new agriculture knowledge in such a way that it results effective use and adoption. The crucial game of agriculture extension education is to bring about the advantageous changes into the farmers and rural people's knowledge, skill, attitude, understanding, activeness, involvement in development efforts, participation and psychology. This could be brought about only through communication. Communication is the interaction between the communicator, that is the journalist, and the people. Now we will move on to certain guidelines for writing farm articles. Agriculture is becoming increasingly information intensive. At the same time, information and communication technology provides a range of sophisticated methods for enhancing communication with farmers. But much work remains to assess the effectiveness and feasibility of various communication strategies. Although electronic media are playing an ever more important role in agriculture communication, print media will surely remain an important source of agriculture information in many parts of the world to come. It is important to assess the degree to which media, such as newspapers and magazines, can play an important role in fostering the diffusion of useful information to farmers. Present age is termed as information age. During recent period, farmers have established habit of reading farm literature. Writing for farmers is not just putting down your thoughts or making plain statements on paper. Your purpose in writing is to communicate in such a manner that you attract the attention of your readers, interest them in a way what you are going to say, making them understand and remember, and finally help them to take the decision to act. Your writing has to serve all these purposes. The why of writing. We write to communicate our ideas, thoughts, messages, and emotions. When we write, we must know why we want to write about a particular subject. Is it to inform about something that they did not know before, or is it to explain and give more information about something they already know? Is it to tell them how to solve a particular farm or home problem? Is it to persuade them to adopt a new idea or method, or show them a new aspect of an old idea? Or is it to provide them with all the information they need to take up some action? Unless we have such a definite purpose in writing, writing will not be clear and we will be ineffective. We will only be wasting our time, hours, as much as the readers. The who of writing. When our readers are farm people, we must know more about them. We can write best if we imagine that our writing is addressed to one person, not to a group of people. We must therefore know who that person is and try to know him well. What we must do first is taking the interest in them. Without first securing their interest, you cannot communicate to them. Try to put yourselves in their place and see through their eyes. Of course, most individuals, in whatever ways they differ, have something in common. Common problems, desires and aims. They all want that they and their families benefit from the information you give. So you should make sure that your ideas you want to write about are sound and suitable for them to know and benefit by. Your ideas touch the reader's ideas. In other words, if you know what they want to read, you should start thinking with them and start off on a happy relationship with them. This will help you in adapting the subject to suit their needs. The ideal way of knowing who of writing is to meet and talk with a typical farmer. Asking him questions will get him into conversation with you. If you keep your eyes and ears focused on him, on what he is saying, you will easily come to know about what they want to know. Then you will be able to easily to understand your audience. The what of writing. You have to select such subjects as your readers are vitally interested in. In selecting a topic for writing, make sure that the idea you have in mind is sound, suitable for communication to your audience, and what is more important is useful to them. Choose your subject with care. Let it not be new. Take up a new point of view in dealing with them. You have to influence your readers and hence select the angle of the topic which will interest them most. After selecting the topic, think more about it. What do they know already about it? What will be the likely difficulties and problems that will prevent the readers from taking up and using the idea? How can the subject be so tackled so that they can accept the idea? How will the readers react to the idea? Mark the boundaries of the subject and strictly confine yourselves to these boundaries. If you stray away, there is a danger of you going further away from the subject and your writing will become too long and foggy. Nobody will like to read for hours. See how much of the subject your readers can take without getting tired of it. Give only as much as which will be easily digested. An overdose of even a good medicine can be very upsetting, if not fatal. Give one single series of related and logical thoughts at a time and do a good job of it. When detailed directions are necessary for taking up a job, give them in full. However, leave out what they already know, what they can add for themselves, and what they have no need to know. The where of writing. People always welcome news. The newspaper and radio are two good customers for your news stories. The news can also be slated for wall newspapers. With some more essential details, it can even be made suitable for periodicals like weeklies and monthly magazines, provided of course it does not lose its value after a short time. You can write articles for the weekend edition of daily newspapers or a monthly magazine. You can also write leaflets and bulletins where you make more detailed information available on the subject to the farm reader. You can write reports and resumes which will be avidly read when properly written. You can write circular letters, brief ones of course, to bring important facts to the notice of farmers and homemakers. You can write telling captions to photographs and exhibits. You can build up a story with pictures. You can write copy for advertisement. The when of writing. Information communication has to be timely if farm readers are to make use of it. Hence, you have to write far in advance of the actual time of or season when the information can be made best use of. Hence, you should time your writing. If any information, however interesting or useful it may be, is given too late, it will lose its utility. The very purpose of communication is then defeated. There are of course exceptions. Some kind of information are communication after the event. Follow-up stories of events or success stories of farmers or a community are examples. But most of what you communicate has to have seasonableness and hence should reach farm readers at the right time or season when reception to the information will be at its best. The how of writing. Farm readers want a writing that exists. They like not only to see your ideas but get the feeling of hearing them, smelling them and touching them too. It gives them a sense of reality and humanness. Such writing will give them both enjoyment and education. Farm readers also need writing that is simple and clearly understandable, does not tire, is in a simple pleasant style and makes them feel it is meant for us. Lack of variety and failure to appreciate their point of view make any writing ineffective to farmers, though it may contain very useful information. Much of the agriculture and home science and other writing for farm people that you come across today reflect this failure. You will not only make enemies of your readers when you make it beyond them to understand you. They may also feel that they are missing something which is probably very useful to them. Simple and clear writing also gives no room to the reader either to miss any of your ideas or to misunderstand them. The latter is more important because misunderstanding an idea may cost the reader much money, time and labor or prevent them from taking any action at all on some important problem. Your writing should be simple and clear to the readers. Be brief in your writing. No one, much less a farm reader, will have the time or patience to go through a long drawn-out writing unless it is fiction. The longer your writing is, the more difficult for the reader to locate your purpose and pick out the things he wants. You will also end up by repeating your statements and get this lost in a maze of words. Editors don't like very long write-ups either. Anything you want to say can be usually said briefly. Make your writing specific. Generalization is always vague and does not help the reader make decisions. Address the reader. A direct approach to the reader creates friendliness between the writer and the reader. Be accurate in the content of your writing. Take care not only to collect information but also to state it correctly. Beware of placing of wrong emphasis and of over-coloring facts which mislead the reader. There is always a chance of your wrongly interpreting a fact or making your own prejudices influence what you write. Take care of that your conclusion is based entirely on the facts that I've stated and not only on your own personal feelings. Also, be accurate in giving the names of people, place and products to help readers identify them easily. You need to sound convincing to the readers. Quote sources and authority for your statements. Readers always like to believe that what they read comes from someone who knows the subject. Don't talk down to the readers. No one likes a superior attitude or preaching. Even if you have to advocate, make it sound as if you are not. Avoid using should, ought to, need to, and must. Give the information and leave it to the reader to think out for him what he should do. He will like it best that way. It is in bad taste and poor psychology to sound as if you are arrogant to talk to your reader. You will then receive the poor response you deserve. Be practical in your information. The farm reader has not much use for information of academic interest. He wants something that he can put into practice. Give practical information which you know your reader can use within his knowledge, ability, time and resources. Avoid exaggeration at all cost. However exciting the situation or important the information, state the facts without being carried away by them yourself. Don't use superlatives. Once you get into that tendency, it will be hard to check it. A single exaggerated word or sentence puts the reader suspect the truth of all your statements. To make your writing interesting, you have to make use of techniques like introducing human element to it. Use personal words which can create interest in the reader. The human touch makes your writing friendly, personal and lively. In other words, it becomes interesting and entertaining. Some of the types of farm literatures commonly used for transfer of technology are: the first one is agriculture news. Agriculture news is viewed as a timely report of agriculture events, facts or opinions that influence a significant number of farmers, reading newspapers and people connected with agriculture and its development. It is an accurate, unbiased account of facts of a current event for newspaper readers about agriculture, farmers, agriculture technology, and people associated with agriculture and its development. The another one is agriculture feature story. It is also an accurate, unbiased account of facts published in periodicals like weekly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly for the readers about agriculture and associated technology. It aims at a particular segment of people. The audience is highly educated and most of them welcome the ideas and sentences of some complexity. It is designed to limited interest groups. It is a halfway between a newspaper and a book. Now let us move on to some of the advantages of farm literature. It can reach a large number of people quickly and simultaneously. It can be read at leisure and kept for future reference. Generally, people have confidence in a printed page. It acts as a necessary supplement to other teaching methods. Information is usually definite, well organized, and readily understood. It influences adoption of practices at relatively low cost. It provides scope for recognizing achievements of individuals and groups. It helps to promote literacy. It reaches larger section of people simultaneously and quickly. It provides permanent record even if the message is forgotten. It can be scanned. When written well, it has the power of motivating people. It provides the communicator time to think, organize his thoughts and present them effectively. It provides the opportunity of contacts. Moving on to some of the limitations of farm literature. First is, it is not suited for illiterate audience. Frequent revision may be necessary to keep abreast of current research. Information prepared for general distribution may not fit local conditions. It is mostly impersonal, lacks social value of personal contacts and meetings. So now let us quickly summarize what we have learned in this session. Journalism is a profession of writing or for editing newspapers, magazines and other publications, whereas agriculture journalism is a task of gathering, writing, editing and publishing or disseminating agriculture information, scientific facts, agriculture technologies, events or agriculture news through newspapers, magazines, radio and television or by any media of communication. Some of the common farm literatures are agriculture news and agriculture feature story. While writing farm literature, there are certain guidelines to be followed which we have already seen. Even in the era of advances in information and communication technologies, print media and farm literature still holds its relevance in transfer of technology to the rural areas. With this, I conclude my session on farm journalism. Thank you.